This video I'm going to call, Hey Koba, what's my gun worth? And gun values, internet auctions, and fad guns. What are fad guns? Well, a lot of people contact me, ask me the value of a gun. One person was telling me they had a pistol that some ancestor took to the California gold rush in the 1840s, and this gun's been in the family for years, and would like to know what my opinion was on its value. Well, 1840s, it's going to be a single shot flintlock pistol, okay? And oh, it's a revolver that, my great uncle had. It's an Ivor Johnson pistol. It was made in 1905 or something, okay? So you get a lot of weird things. And there's a lot of people that'll send me emails through YouTube wanting to sell me an old military gun. And I'm like, what do you want for it? Well, what's it worth to you? Well, I'm not going to go out of my way. You approach me to buy some gun, which you give me a description, no photographs of it, and you expect me to offer you $500, $600, $700. Well, you're wrong. Okay. And a lot of people just want to know what's the value of the gun. If you want to know what the value of the gun is, break down and go buy a blue book of gun values for $45. They're published each year, and they're current, and probably that's the best way of finding out. Go on an online auction like Gunbroker or something and see what these guns sold for. This is problematic because the online auctions, how real are they? See, this is something I've learned. You'll see stuff go up there and get some insane prices on them. Alright, if you go to the gun boards, the collectors forum, you'll see a lot of discussion. Japanese Type 99 rifles that I think one was in the first year of production. It looks no different than any other early type of gun. There's nothing special about it, but went upwards to like $1,800. Where a good Japanese rifle with a mum on it, Type 99 is, in my opinion, is worth about $350 for a real nice example. Maybe go 100 more for one like brand new mint, or if it has paperwork where the GI brought it back and documentations that can raise the value of it, but not 1,800 bucks. Okay, how real is the auction? Because I found out it got so bad they don't even cover it up. They'll run a gun. Realistically, it was an older black powder cartridge gun worth, I'd say, $1,000 in the condition it was in. And I put a $700 bid on it. And it sat there as one of them 12-day, and it went up, and somebody bumped over by $5 or something more. And that's supposed to get me to go, well, I'll go 10 or 20, and then you start. But I didn't, and then when it closes, everyone comes down like a pack of wolves and putting bids in, and they run the gun up to about $980, and then it's sold. And sure enough, a month later, the same gun, same dealer, listed again, starting off $150, and then, then I went and put a $500 bid, and of course somebody outbid me, but this time the gun only closed for like $850 or something. So I just, whenever I see it, I just won't even go to it anymore. So you can't really rely on gun auction prices, okay? And a lot of things priced on, like the gun broker, even if it has a buy it now or whatever, or starting bid with no reserve, is a lot higher than what the guidebooks go by. And a lot of things people forget is condition and grade. Just because, say, you have one type of gun, like say, let's use a SKS rifle. You got one that's brand new, mint, never been refinished, re-arsenal, the older gun made in the 50s. Well, this rifle is worth more than one just like it that has no finish, a broken repaired stock, and maybe a piece missing, scratched, banged up, dented. The value of these two guns is going to vary greatly, okay? And you don't want to be paying the price of a mint pristine example for a gun that's pretty beat up and worn out. See? So that's something I see a lot of people not take into consideration. And so I really don't like answering on what's my gun worth. And like I said, if the best thing is get a guidebook, use your own judgment. And a lot of times, sometimes I'll pay a little more than what a gun's worth because I like it or I like that particular model or something about it. It's hard to find. I recently bought a Spanish Star Super B in 9mm. I paid a little more for it because it had a magazine with it, and the finish in that compared to the whole pile in there was a nice looking one out of the bunch. I had to pick a litter, so I paid a little more because I could have saved $50 if I wanted one with the bluing half wore off on one side and some pitting and that, but I didn't. So again, it's more of a personal choice, and you know, if you really like it, you want to pay for it. Basically, most people, it's something they found in a closet after a relative passes away and they want to sell it for hundreds and thousands of dollars and don't know what it's worth or whatever. So buy a guidebook. Don't go with the online auctions as a guide, because some of the prices there are way out of whack. And then there's sometimes you find deals on there. It's very, not that often, but you can. And another thing is, like, certain guns become popular. And I remember a time when an AR-15 retailed for about $750, but you could get an AK-47 for about $450, around in there. Everybody was buying AK-47s, and there's about the time when the European Union kicked in. A lot of the Eastern European countries were going and joining NATO, so all their Soviet magazines, caliber weapons and that were being sold in the surplus market, and magazines were cheap, and people had huge boxes of them, and everybody had an AK-47. Now, about 10 years later, to buy a nice US-made AK-47, it's about $750, and magazines are hard to find and expensive. But an AR-15, a generic one, cranked out by one of these companies, you can get for $399. Okay, so it's reversed. And everybody wants an AR and the ammunition and the mags and everything else. So there's trends and fads, like it's cool. Like when the Mosin Nagants were all around for $100. And this is a strange thing I see about surplus guns. They were everywhere. People had cases and cases of them. $100 a piece, and you got the sling and all the little accessories with it. And the thing is, I did see some people trying to sell them later, you know, but it's like they were all bought up and they disappear. You don't see that many of them. There was one dealer here who either remortgaged his house or some weird story and bought the last available lot that came in to a wholesaler close by, and he bought like 3 or 4 cases of them in the last batch that came in before they cut them off. And he was selling them for a few years. I didn't see him at the last gun show. He has a few other types of surplus guns that come in recently, and a few of the Nagants that were unusual, and he has priced quite high, like upwards of $300. But right now, a decent Nagant with all the accessories is anywhere from $2 to $2.5. You know, a nice one, a nice wood, nice finish. And you don't really see a lot of them. They don't pop up that often, the rifles. You know, that was all the rage. I made tons of videos. Everyone was making a video on it. Those finish rifles, which are basically the heavy barrel version of the Nagants, that's a whole unique collecting thing in itself. I see people listing them or showing off on the gun boards for them. You know, they were a pretty basic plain gun, but they're, you know, they are accurate. They're very accurate guns to finish Mosins. But you know, they go upward of $1,000, over $1,000. I've seen people selling certain models and variations for. And to me, it's, you know, I'm not interested in it. You know, and I think, to me, it's, you know, it's overpriced. But of course, I'm not trying to insult anybody or someone who specializes or collects those guns and likes them. You know, again, it's your personal choice. So you see a lot of that. And then like the Swiss rifles, like the K31 and that, prices are ungodly on it. There was another surplus gun. It was neither here nor there. Of course, years ago, you couldn't get the ammo for it. You'd have to reload it, and you couldn't get the brass. And the only time, like 30, 40 years ago, you got any kind of odd brass, even 7.7 Jap and that, it was from Norma. And it was like $25 a box 30 years ago, which was a ton of money. It's like me telling you each cartridge is like $5 a piece now, you know. Everybody, oh, I like the gun, but I can pay that to shoot it. So that's why it was tough to sell those guns, and they really didn't have a value. A lot of people didn't shoot them. Well, when the ammo came in and all the guns flooded in, people realized they're a neat old gun, they're very accurate, and then next thing you know, it's got to have in my collection, and the price is out there, and people get the price for them. You know, people pay. So it's hard to say. Who knows? 10 years from now, Swiss rifles and the guns might not be popular, and you can find them at flea markets and pawn shops for practically nothing. You never know. Okay, it's just strange, and it's hard to put a price on a gun. You know, it's basically whatever you want to put into it, I guess, is worth it. All right, enough of me talking. I gotta go. Maybe I'll make some gun review videos. I'm not sure, but thanks for listening.